and I've played it for you here on the air, and I just want to recap it for you at some point during this segment, but I want to first introduce you to the creator of Accountability for All, the owner and operator of this channel, which has, by the way, over 100,000 subscribers to it. Josh Abrams is here this morning. Good morning, Josh. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Melissa. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, Josh, before we get into this scenario really quickly, I want to learn a little bit more about Accountability for All. How long have you had it?
My channel's been up for just over 3 years now.
What made you want to start? First of all, what is Accountability for All if people are not familiar with your channel?
So my channel is civil rights activism, government oversight, for all intents and purposes, what most people consider First Amendment auditing. To keep it simple, we make sure that we stress test the Constitution, we observe our rights and practice them, and we go into public places, sometimes police stations, town halls, or other public venues, and we just as professionally as possible, exhibit our right to record in those places. I also cover some other public interest stories involving police violence, etc.
What made you want to do this? Like, what made you want to start this 3 years ago?
You know, life hasn't always been great. I'm blessed now to have a wonderful job, and I'm able to provide for myself. But several years ago, I was addicted to drugs, and I had quite a few criminal issues myself, and I wanted to be able to change my life, and I wanted to be able to do it in a way that was positive for myself and positive for my family. And it just so happened I was standing on the side of a road, and a police officer did something illegal, and I pulled my camera out, I started recording, and little did I know the video would go viral. And since then, I've worked no other job. I do this, and I own my own company.
So I want to understand how Ridgefield came on your radar. I can't help but notice that you have a Massachusetts phone number. How did you land in Ridgefield, Connecticut?
So sometimes when we choose the places that we go because there's existing stories. Sometimes we go randomly, and sometimes, as in this case, subscribers reach out to us. We were in the Connecticut area, and a subscriber living out of Ridgefield told us that something was going on in the news media. Didn't have much more information besides that, so we decided to go. And when we got there, of course, we found out that there was a Grinch Day proclamation coming. So we were already kind of in the area, and we decided, since we were, that we would respond to that subscriber's request.
What is a Grinch Day proclamation? I don't know what that is.
You know, we didn't get that far, Melissa. We were trying to figure just that out. And after we were walking around the town hall, we were doing some Christmas carols with the employees. But before we were able to find out exactly what a Grinch Day or an annual Grinch Day proclamation was, we ran into this issue. I think we found the Grinch, but not necessarily what the proclamation was.
But I guess, so you had somebody, I just want to make sure I've got this correct. You had somebody who's living in Ridgefield just reach out to you and say, hey, we're concerned about something going on, or there's something shady. Like, can you give us obviously you don't want to give the person's name or anything, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. But can you give us a little more context? Like, why go into the town hall in Ridgefield and just start recording? Like, what were you looking for?
So there was nothing shady that was alleged in this email. We get emails from people all over the country. As I've traveled most of the country conducting First Amendment audits, and they just said, hey, I noticed that you've been in Connecticut the past couple days. If you're in Ridgefield, they're doing some Grinch Day thing. It might be some good, news media thing. It turned out to be the Grinch Day. And if you want to swing by, go ahead. And we just figured we'd stop by. Our reason for going into the town hall and filming is the same as going into any other government building and filming. You know, we have the right to do so. They're your rights. If you don't use them, you lose them.
Okay, so we're talking this morning to Josh Abrams, who is the owner and operator of Accountability for All, which is a YouTube channel. It has over 100,000 subscribers. So I would say you seem pretty successful in the 3 years that you've had this channel. I mean, and you don't have to disclose how much money you make off of it, but you said you live pretty comfortably, Josh. You said that you're doing well since making this channel.
I do, yeah. I do very well, and it's been successful, of course, not without its hardships, but we've been doing very well.
So, Josh, I'm going to play a snippet of this video right after we check on traffic and weather. It's 8:16. I'm going to play the video for people who have not seen it. I have played it on our show a couple of times already, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it if you don't mind just staying on the line. Josh Abrams is here, again, owner and operator of Accountability for All, and this is connected to the story out of Ridgefield. We told you about this earlier this week. A town employee now out of a job and facing a criminal charge after she hit. It was you, Josh, right? Was it you who got hit, or was it your side person that was working with you?
Yes, ma'am, it was me.
It was you. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this on the other side of this break coming up on WICC.
WICC Right Now Traffic.
Still have an accident
This morning with Josh Abrams, owner and operator of Accountability for All. And this was part of a story we told you about earlier this week in Ridgefield, where Josh went in with his camera rolling, which is legal, into the town hall in Ridgefield. And he came across a worker there, and she was not interested in being videotaped. In fact, Josh sent me the link to the video. And so I'm going to play it for you here, and then we'll talk a little bit more with Josh on the other side of this. Take a listen.
Hello.
Hi.
How are
Are
you?
you filming me?
I'm
Are
sorry?
you filming me?
Yes.
Shut it off. Please shut it off. I don't want to be filmed.
Shut it off? No, we can't shut it off.
Listen, get out of here. No, I'm not kidding.
There's National Grinch Day. There's National Grinch Day today. Is that just
You know what? Can you please shut that off?
No, it's silly.
What do you mean no? Get out of here. Listen.
Be serious right now.
How are you?
Hello.
Look at that face. Man.
So they're celebrating National Grinch Day at 4:15 in the town hall steps. Are you the
Can
Grinch
you
this
get out of here now?
year?
You know
Ma'am,
what? I'm going to hit the panic button.
you're gonna hit the panic button?
Yeah, can you get out? Get out!
Oh, ma'am, it's not gonna be good. Don't do that. You're gonna look very...
Oh!
All right, ma'am. All right. You're gonna have to call someone now. Unfortunately, she's in trouble.
So, again, this is just a snippet of the video, which is over 44 minutes long. Josh, do you typically go into people's offices and not say, you know, hey, I'm with Accountability for All. This is why I'm here. I noticed there was no introduction. You just kind of walked into her office.
Well, yeah, so we didn't actually go into the office. We were just standing in the hallway. We never actually entered the office. But the purpose of what we're doing is for people to respect our rights, right? Like when we go into any public venue, I'm not talking about people's, actual business, like, for example, they work at a hairdresser, private businesses. We're more interested in educating government employees. And if I'm to walk into a business and, just walk into a public place and just say, hey, my name's Josh, I'm Accountability for All, this is a First Amendment audit, it kind of defeats the purpose of going in to see if they will respect our rights. We just want to go in, be left alone, enjoy our experience, record our interactions, and then leave.
What if she was talking about something that was personal to her, though? And I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. What if she was talking about a cancer diagnosis in the family or something, and you're just rolling on her personal conversations, but she hadn't told her employer yet? I understand what you're saying, that you don't want to give your cover away, right? You don't want to blow it because then people will change. And look, I've worked in media for over a decade. I get it. I get if you tell people who you are right away that they're going to change their tune, they're going to change what they say, they might even lie to your face. I get it. I totally get it. I get that politics do it. I get that reporters do it. But what if she was doing something that was personal to her, and even though you didn't enter the office, you were there, you were able to audibly hear her? What if you had captured something that even her own employer didn't know about?
That's a good question, and in fact, I believe it happened earlier in that video. When we go into these offices or hallways, firstly, if we notice someone's on the phone, the first thing we do, and this is regular through all of my videos, is we turn about face and leave, and we can always visit the office afterwards. Normally, if the employee is speaking with somebody else and having a conversation, I take that to be privacy, right? Because one of the things that we say is if you want privacy, you need to create it. So if a door is closed or people are having a private conversation, we leave. If someone's engaged in a conversation where they seem upset or it seems otherwise personal, we don't stick around. Yeah, we can always revisit it later. At the end of the day, we're still human beings, and if our purpose is to try and educate, then we have to have some humanity to us, and this is a somewhat taboo subject. The government is ever changing and ever evolving, and people don't really understand cameras, right? The founding fathers, I don't ever think intended that someone could pull out a cell phone and start filming someone. So as the times change, so does the message. And we want to make sure that we can, stay up to date and educate people as best as possible. And that's not really feasible if, we have no humanity and we're just invading people's most personal and private moments. So if that was the case, as it has been in the past, then we would just move on and come back later if we need to. Even if people, when we go to these town halls, a lot of times we'll go to a town clerk's office and someone is exchanging personal information, or they're at the accounting desk and they're trying to pay a bill. We don't want their personal information. If I'm paying a bill, I don't want people to have access to my personal information. So you'll see that we'll just leave. We won't necessarily follow through. So we're not there to try and invade on people's personal information or etc.
I mean, this woman was visibly upset, though. I mean, she clearly did not want to be on camera. She felt ambushed. If I were to make an assessment of what I was looking at, she felt ambushed. She was upset to the point that she'd push a panic button. And I don't know if you know this, but it wasn't that long ago, that it wasn't in Connecticut, but it was in another state, that an entire town hall was shot up by somebody who just came in because they have the right to do that. You felt it was appropriate to call her silly, to laugh, to call her the Grinch. You felt like that was the best approach to get information out there to your viewers?
Well, I mean, as you watch videos that are done and by other people, there's a lot of different tactics: screaming, yelling, calling names. I kind of chuckle it off and say, it's being silly, because it's an attempt to de-escalate the situation at the same time while maintaining my rights. There's a saying out there that your feelings don't trump my rights. And we get into a dangerous line where, well, she's upset, and now I have to give up my rights to appease her because she's upset. Notice once during that video, she said a couple times, she said, please stop. But this is someone that represents a city in an official capacity. At no time did she say, could you explain to me your purpose here? I don't appreciate being on film. I know you can film me. Why are you here filming me? That never came across her lips.
That's true. That's true. I don't know if protocols are in place like that. You're right. That's true. She never did ask you who you were. The thing I want to know from you, Josh, is what was your end game here? What was the end goal? Because you have a woman now who, and again, I'm just giving you the facts that I know from this situation, from this report. You have a woman now who had worked for the town for over 30 years, who has a clean record, who is probably going to be out of a job now. She now faces legal trouble. We know that her husband has now been threatened at his job. Her address is now out there publicly that people are threatening them. What was the end goal here? Was it worth it? Did you gain anything?
Firstly, if any of my viewers are listening, which I'm sure they are, and I reiterate this in my videos and my live stream updates, is that the people that you're seeing in the video, whether you approve or disapprove of their behavior, they're still human. We don't want anyone to be reaching out to these people personally or otherwise, threatening them. I actually saw a video online where someone was showing this woman's house, and I actually contacted the Ridgefield police and spoke to a sergeant and made them aware of that video. We don't want anyone to be personally contacting these people, but it's also akin to I believe this young lady's ego and her choices, because we didn't want to pursue charges. I didn't want her to lose her job. I didn't want her to, have to go to court and face these different issues. I believe that at the end of the day, as a government employee, and even as just an adult person, it's understandable that you can't just get up and hit someone because you don't like what they do. And the purpose is always foremost education. So in four different separate times throughout the shooting of this video, we offered the opportunity to apologize and forego charges. This young lady didn't want to apologize, even after the video was over. Excuse me. I contacted the police.
And I heard you say that in the video.
Know.
Yes, you did say to the police, I will not drop it if she apologizes. Yes, I did hear you say that.
I said, listen, this doesn't have to be a media thing either. I'll accept an apology off camera. I'll stop rolling right now. I called the courts and the police station after the video was rolling, and I put the same offer out there. I'm willing to drop this thing. I just want an apology, because you can't just hit people because you don't like what they're doing, especially when they're conducting a constitutionally protected activity. This could be a different conversation if I was assaulted because I had a cross in my hand and not a camera. You know, there are many components to the First Amendment, but you can't use violence to try and, restrain someone's free speech.
I have one more question for you, Josh, and then I have to let you go. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. How much money will you make off of that video? Are your subscribers the ones paying your bills?
No, YouTube pays. A lot of different calculations go into it. How many subscribers you have, how many views you have on the video. You get paid based on the ads. Of course, subscribers have multiple different options. They can do things like super chats and super thanks and stuff like that. But it's YouTube that pays the bill. And how much that video will make, YouTube pays once a month. That would be determined at the end of next month.
Okay, well, could you let me know when you get that bill? Would you mind?
You know what? You can actually see yourself, because as a YouTube partner, all of our earnings are posted online. So it sometimes is not quite accurate, but if you go on a website called socialblade.com, it'll show you within 70% accuracy up to people's daily subscribers, what they're making per day. It's not an exact science, but because it's a publicly traded company, YouTube does share this information.
Got it. Okay, well, I'll be sure to follow up. Josh, I really appreciate you coming on this morning, owner and operator of Accountability for All. Thank you for telling us what happened. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Melissa.
Thank you. Let's go to traffic and weather. We've got more news for